We got a flooding issue back here. I think it's downspouts are causing a big issue. So is this wall. It's a pool. So if too much water, they have a downpour. This is flooded once. The owner cut the retaining wall, so I'm just gonna trim that down. I'm going 3 feet over. I'm using circular saw and the grinding tool, just using diamond bit blades, and I'm gonna try to bust it up as best I can. You might put recap concrete, which you can put really thin, and we might angle it more, angle the concrete so it flows out of here. All right, so here we go. All right, we're done for today.
Much later.
Day 2. Place is pretty cleaned out. I cheated. I got a chipping hammer, and I'm gonna pound that out. And once I do that, we're gonna get the power washer back here. Get the power washer back here, clean it up. Back out on the little slab that's slope towards the door. I'm just gonna go through the process of putting on some resurfacer. I got some muriatic acid. I'm gonna put this in a spray bottle and soak this down with acid. So that's to etch it. It opens up the pores of the concrete, so it'll accept something new. Also helps clean it. After that, I'll wash it off, get as much of the water off as I can, and then I will put and get some of this bonding concrete glue. Stuff's really good. I'll just throw some on, use the brush, get everything kind of touched with the bonding glue. Then I'll start with the resurfacer, start mixing that. This stuff, if you want to make sure you go through the mixing process very well. Add the right amount of water, so 3.5 quarts, mix in a 5-gallon pail using a power drill. We'll do a couple bags, and we're probably going to go right up to there. So we're gaining about 1 inch. Maybe 1.5 inches in this corner. First off, you don't have to use the glue, the bonding glue. It's unnecessary. Recap has really good additives that help the concrete bond to each other, the old and the new. And it's not necessary. It's just a waste. And then it also discolors the recap, so you can never really like blend it all in together. It doesn't like each other. What I'm doing here, I am just stacking it towards the door, so we do get that slope. I had to put multiple coats. I wish I would have done like an acrylic patcher instead, just because it's cheaper and it's easier to mold with. This stuff was, you have to get a pretty runny consistency. That was my first layer. I let that dry, and then I came back the next day. I think that clip's coming up right here, and that dried. You can see the discoloration in all the edges. That never goes away, so don't use the bonding. I just wet it down, and of course I put more bonding, because why not? If it doesn't work the first time, try it again. And we did another round of recap. This was definitely a learning curve for me, a little bit of trial and error. So I did multiple rounds of the recap. There's probably way better ways to do this, but that's just how I did it. And this was the last one for this night. This actually came out really smooth, and the coloration wasn't bad here until the morning, because I decided to put a cure and seal down, which is supposed to help it cure, and it seals it up at the same time. But as you watch me spray it on here with the pump up sprayer, it leaves like these patterns, and it dripped, and everywhere there's more cure and seal than others. It just, you can see the whole pattern after it dried. So I would not recommend this unless this is your only chance to seal it. Otherwise, I just wait till the concrete's fully cured after the 30 days and just put your own sealer down. This was the next day, and I put a fresh batch of patcher down, which you're looking at right now. I trialed it on to give me a little bit more slope because it was pulling. Forgot to film all that. Can also, I think I'll hit it right here. You can see the aftermath of all the cure and seal, all the discoloration it makes. I had to patcher to the left, to the right. And after we let that cure, I ended up putting one more layer of the acrylic patcher down, just because when we tested it, water was still pulling up, which we did not want. It was no good. I've lost count, but this is another coat of Resurfacer. Just spread it out after mixing it, and I ended up spreading it out with the trowel, which worked out pretty good. Try to put it in the low spots. This is after I got it all spread out. Looks pretty nice. And then this actually dried to a really good consistency, just a little coloration, but the smoothness and the texture turned out really good. This is the product dried overnight. This is the next day, and that is the discoloration that came out of it. I'm pretty sure I'm putting too much water in the mix, and that's just where it's diluted, because you can kind of see where I've been troweling all the back and forth. Yeah, I'm not too sure what I'm doing exactly, but I did come to test it out and see if it was pulling, and indeed it was. I let that sit for a while, and then here's where I came back. I'm having two areas with low spots that are pulling up. One was a big spot here and a little one there. I grabbed the angle grinder with I think it's a 5-inch, could be a 7-inch, and I was taking out some of the high spots to create more of a slope. Just laid the skim coat of crickweed on there, and I put a brush finish, and it ended up going horizontally because the other way was really hard. So we're gonna let this dry, and then I'll come back in an hour and see how it looks. So this was actually the next day, and you can see there the discoloration again. Not sure why, like even all this that I'm touching, it's cured and it's still really dark. I don't think it's cured all the way. And the spotting, I don't know if it goes out, but I wanted to check the slope, so I sprayed some water down just because we wanted to double check and make sure that it was draining. And in fact, it looked really, really good. The water was all going to the edge of the wall and actually slowly creeping down, which was fine because we only had about 1 inch of slope, and that was good enough. And that's what the customer really wanted, was just to make sure the water was going away from the door and out the retaining wall. And here's it actually a couple hours later. It's dried up. Discoloration is a little better, but it's not great. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. This is Karl. Over and out.